Hey, how's it going, everyone? How you guys doing tonight, today, wherever you're from in this beautiful world? Welcome to another Beer and Cheese Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here, Bumpy Road Brewery, and I'm sure some others will follow. I think Miscellaneous Brew Reviews is going to pop in, so I'll look out for you guys. And anyone that's interested in wanting to come up here and have some cheese and beer, go ahead and let me know, and I can, I'm sure, put the link up there and get you in. So, we got Patch of Heaven, Chatio's first. And we got Patch of Heaven, John and Nilly, and Mary and Butch. Right on, guys. Cheers. Let's get Bumpy up here.
Trying to avoid the noise. Yeah. So the Gruyere cheese that I brought tonight, this one's from Switzerland. It is called La Gruyere. Switzerland. It is aged 5+ months. It's gluten-free, lactose-free, made with raw milk, and it looks like this when it's like cut up just a little bit. It did look just like a bar of soap, pretty much. It does have some kind of like powdery, almost flour on the edges. It is a very dry kind of feeling cheese. Now it's been out for a little bit. It's starting to sweat just a little bit, so it's got a little bit of stickiness to it.
Nice.
Haven't quite picked up any of the little pieces yet. Let me go ahead and do that so I can just see how flexy it is. But taking this out of the package, yeah, see, this is very dry on that side with the look, it has that almost like a flour, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the aging process on the outer edges, though. It's a bit bendy. It bends, but I think it will snap. But yeah, it's got kind of a slight rubberiness to it, and yeah, extreme nutty aromas. Like when I was taking it out of the package, extreme nuttiness. There's a bit of that kind of waxy type note. I think I was talking about that last week in the cheddar cheese that I had, where it reminded me a lot more of a Gruyere type cheese than it did a cheddar. This, yeah, has kind of those similar types of smells. It's a little bit nut, a little bit of a funk to it, but the I'll eat it later on and get more into it. But yeah, got the from Granite Roots Brewing Company. They're out of Tilton, New Hampshire. They're Monadnock strong lager. It comes in at 6% ABV. And yeah, I'll just read this little thing. It says, meet little Foghorn and Casper, the two newest kids on our farm. I'm guessing that they are goats. They probably have them their farm. Monadnock Berries. I think that's the name of their farm. Monadnock Berries. We brewed this beer for them and you. It's clean, smooth, traditional amber bock. Those notes of rich malty caramel, fresh baked bread. If you appreciate old world strong lagers, this beer is for you. So I've had some beers from Granite State. They make really good porters and stouts for the most part, but let's see how they do with a bock. Yeah, so it's that kind of off-white, creamy head, little bit of a khaki-esque color, but not too dark on it. creamy head though. Tight bubbles. They're starting to kind of grow gradually. The color of the beer itself is a nice deep amber. Hold it up to light. There is a clarity to it. I can see through. It's too dark facing the camera to really pick up what I'm seeing. Even doing that, you kind of get a hint of the color up that close, but it's a bit brighter red amber with light reflecting through it. So
Nice looking beer.
through it. So,
Yeah, that looks really
yeah.
good.
So I'll see how this all goes together.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Right on. Cheers, man. Thank you, Bumpy. Bumpy Road Brewery, everyone. All right. Let's get me up here. I forgot to let's do this real quick. I kind of want to let everyone know, even though you might know it already, this is a Gruyere cheese. It's hard to sometimes say Gruyere cheese. And basically, Gruyere it's a hard yellow Swiss cheese, basically that originated in the cantons of Freiburg, Vaud, Jura, and Bern, and something like that in Switzerland. It is named after the town of Gruyere in Freiburg. In 2001, Gruyere gained the appellation d'origine contrôlée, something which became the appellation d'origine. All right, that was a lot of nothing. Similar, how does cheese taste? How does it taste real quick, just so everyone knows? It's known for its rich, creamy, salty, and nutty flavor. We'll just keep it at that. How about it? All right. Let's get me up here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the cheese as well. And of course, I have a Gruyere as well here. This is a Boar's Head one. Show you the packaging and the cut. It's just like Bumpy said, kind of flimsy. And then breaks, kind of just like almost like mozzarella in a way or something, I guess, or I don't know. Yeah, it smells. We'll get into that, but yeah, a little bit of a nutty thing. And then I did do research, and I believe, yeah, we just kind of like research this one. Sometimes I like to do that. This is one from Erdinger. It's their Weiss or Dunkelweiss or Weissen Dunkel, however you would put that. And they say it is their number one Hefeweizen in Germany, I imagine, or in the world. It's made in Germany. It's crafted in Germany, and we've never had this before. So let's open it up. It's a 5.3%. A little smoke there on the top. It's nice. Pouring really, really heady. Pour a little slower, less aggressive. All right. So we got a nice dark, kind of brown, almost reddish tint to it as well. A little bit of an auburn look or something. Nice fat head. I mean, that's a fist of cream up in there. Nice tan head. Some real quick smell. It smells crispy, lagery, brown bread, crusty kind of thing going on or something. Yeah, we'll get into that. I think this will go good. So let's see. Let's see how this works. All right. Bumpy, if you are ready.
All right. So I will say, eating the outer edge on this, like I can even say looking at the cheese. So there's this like darker line on the outer edges, and I ate that first, the piece that had that had like a flowery look to it. Extremely hard to eat and rubbery. So I had a piece that was a little bit more inner, and it's a bit better than the outer edges. So I will stay away from the outer edges. So yeah, getting into more of the center of the bar of soap cheese. It's flexy. I think it may snap. There you go. It will snap. Yeah, it's pretty robust with that kind of nuttiness. There's a bit of a funk to it. I think it's almost Swiss cheese like a little bit in the aroma. Probably it comes from the same same region
Yeah.
pretty much. So I think they probably have similarities to it. But let's eat some. So much better on the inside. If this whole cheese was like the outer edges, this would have sucked. So it's a lot more like chewy. Um, I'd say it's a drier cheese. Not quite as dry as like a flaky like cheddar might be dry, but it's not like melting in my mouth either. So that's why I'm going with dry. Yeah. It's got a little bit of this kind of wax appeal type note. Nuttiness, that funky, call it a funky buttery type thing going on. Bit of a salinity to it. Slight noticeable salt, but not super salty. I think eating this in smaller portions is better. I think it allows the enzymes in your mouth to break it down a bit more, and I think it kind of gives it a little bit of a sweeter flavor. If you and also brings out some of that kind of funky. I think it's maybe the raw milk that's used. That's where it's like kind of a buttery funk. But it's I think eating a large portion of this at one time, I don't believe would be palatable like it is if you eat it in smaller pieces. Because it's just so it doesn't melt in your mouth. So you're just gonna be left with this bunch of dry, kind of almost waxy, rubbery type cheese.
Right.
And the enzymes won't break down and get that deep kind of funk there. So all right. The beer. It smells a bit fruity. I would say like yellow raisins. It's kind of got that kind of fruit aroma. Touch of bread note in there. Deep brown bread. Almost a little bit of a sourness to it as well. Like maybe like some soured brown bread, sourdough brown bread, and golden raisins. All right. I'm going to take a swig. So cheers.
Cheers. Right. Welcome, Jemmer.
Thank you. Hey everybody.
It's a fairly light body beer. Carbonation on it's kind of in the lower realm. Lots of bread crust, brown bread notes, a little bit of that kind of yellow raisin fruit kind of peeks its head near the beginning of the sip, but then after you drink it down, kind of left with more of that deeper brown bread type note, crust in the deep brown bread. Slight earthy tone bitterness on the tail end as well. It's kind of a mild bitterness. Matches up with kind of the robustness though of what the deeper brown bread crust and stuff are doing. Kind of left with that as a lingering, it's that kind of earthy tone bitterness with some of the brown bread notes. So let's pair this up with the cheese. Let's eat the cheese and then.
Oh, cheesers.
Yeah, that works really well. Doing it that way, for sure. That nuttiness, that kind of buttery funkiness, a bit of that salt and stuff. When you drink this Maybach, and you get those brown bread notes, and you get the that kind of earthy bitter, it just kind of intertwines with everything that the cheese is doing. Neither one overpowers. They're kind of still there and kind of blending together, mixing the different notes together. So kind of funky buttered brown bread with a touch of salt that way. Let's take a swig and then eat the rest of this.
Right on, man. Cheesers again. And cheers, bro. Slunch.
It works fine that way, but eating the cheese first and then drinking the beer is the way to go with this one. Just because at the tail end of this is more of that kind of just earthy tone bitterness, and then eating the cheese that kind of does overpower the finish that you're left with from the beer. So I would eat the cheese first and then take a sip, and that just worked very well.
Nice.
Cheers.
Cheers. I like cheese and beer in a lot of these. It depends though. But yeah. Cool, man. Thanks, Bumpy. Appreciate it. We got Jammer Fan that just came in. He's got a Swiss. You got, but it's all good because this is an Alpine Swiss, so we're good to go. Gruyere is a Swiss, so go for it. Good to have you here.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I had fun the last couple times I've been on, so I have kind of like a really just fun story tonight. So last night, my girlfriend and I hosted kind of an impromptu cheese and wine tasting party, and we just had a sharp cheddar, but people had brought some stuff, and somebody had brought some aged Swiss from a company called September Farm, and I had their logo right here. This is us, and I verified. So September Farm, they're out of it's a Dutch Pennsylvanian kind of thing. They do several specialty Swisses, including so I have the aged Swiss from them, but they also have a smoked Swiss. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a smoked Swiss, but they do a smoked Swiss. And they do a baby Swiss and like a Lacey. They do like a lot of specialty Swisses, so it's pretty cool.
Wow,
but so
crazy.
I have their aged Swiss. I actually asked the guy who brought it over. I was like, "Can I grab a couple of?" So we told everybody they had to bring over their cheese in cubes. So because we stuck because of COVID, we stuck little toothpicks in all the cubes. So you can get a glass of wine, you can grab a little cube, so you're not sticking your hands in the slices of cheese and getting all gummed up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So everybody brought over cubes. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I at least got to like show. So I actually did a lot of research on Swiss. Just because I didn't have the package from these guys, I had to go off what this guy said. So I did research and I looked at pictures of Swiss. And did you guys know that depending on the recipe and the climate, the holes like can be bigger, they can be smaller, it can be more holes, it can be less holes. Did you guys know that like the fermentation like really influences like the amount of holes?
That's crazy. It's good to know.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So
interesting.
But this cheese had a lot of holes, but they were small. So I'm gonna have to have to go for the money shot here. I'm really hoping you guys can see. There's a little dimple. I don't know. Can you guys see that little dimple there? There's definitely. So then this one definitely has a hole. I actually asked my girlfriend. I was like, "Can you please save some of the big holes?" So we had one. There was a huge hole right through the middle of the cube. And I was like, oh my God, please save that for the beer panel. And that was the first one somebody grabbed, dude. And they shoved a craisin. They shoved some like cranberry raisins like right in the middle of that thing because we had some like fruit out. And they just it looked like a piece of art, and they obliterated it. But again,
No.
you can see like so. I mean, so I got the effing crappy holes, but there's another hole right there. You can see that's a little and then there's another hole. So this is a double hole right here, but you can tell these holes were bigger. Like so, this is where we cut it up. This is where we cut it. This is where we cut it. Like they were bigger. Like you guys know how the holes kind of go out. If you cut it perfect, you have those like slices that you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I apologize for my ghetto presentation, but I'm just like letting you guys know the story, kind of like behind this cheese. And it all stemmed from me being cheap. I was like, okay, we needed cheese for this party, but I wanted to get Swiss to bring it on the show tonight. So I was like, I should have just bought my own fucking separate Swiss, but I was trying to be cheap. And I ended up with like the lower quality pieces of cheese from this adventure. But
I believe
I'm gonna bring it on.
likes Swiss quite a bit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, let's do it. Do I have to just present everything right now? How far behind am I from you?
No, go ahead and do the whole thing. Yeah, just get it. Yeah, go ahead and do the whole thing.
So, all right, I kind of showed you guys the cheese. I'm gonna I brought on a knife and plate to kind of cut it a little bit more. I just I don't know what you guys brought on for beer. Sorry, I saw you guys were casting and I just popped on. I did this for Alex, the Beer Masters thing on Friday. So I just decided to I had a cheese, I had a beer. I was like, technically this is beer. This is Mountain Time Premium Lager. So I just thought it would go good with a Swiss. Swiss is a very mild cheese, as you guys know. I don't know if you guys discussed that, but it's very mild on the palate. So oh, this is always nice when it's so hard because it's such a petite. This is so I call this a petite Swiss. The bubbles are so you guys can see. Hold on. This I'm trying to get this little. Sorry, it's this I don't know, this little hole, this little it's like the classic Swiss hole, but it's very small. This cheese seems to have smaller bubbles during fermentation. I've noticed that some of the Swisses have these huge bubbles, and some of them have these really small bubbles. Let me pull up the website for these guys really quick because they explain their cheese perfectly. So hold on. So this is an Amish style from 1800s. So they're in Pennsylvania. Again, the name of the company is September Farm Cheese, and they sell this exact cheese on their website. But it's spoiler, it's $17 for shipping. So they sell it for $6.99 a pound, but then you pay $17 for shipping. So it's not really.
Yeah, watch that.
I picked it up at Whole Foods. It was $9.99 for 8 ounces, so it wasn't exactly cheap, but it's for a Swiss. I'm cutting these cubes up right now. For a Swiss, it's got a lot of body for a Swiss. Sometimes Swiss seems to leave your tongue really quick. You eat it and then it goes. It seems to have some staying power.
It has a little bit of funk. Slight, I don't know.
Actually, it does have some funk. So when I first popped into the cast, I think Bumpy was saying something, or was it you? Somebody was saying something about funk.
Yeah,
Bumpy
was. Yeah, funk.
I've had a lot of funky cheeses, so I have I wouldn't say that it's funky in the traditional sense, but I will say that it's an aged Swiss. So I will say that there's a creaminess and maybe a tangy fruitiness that surpasses what I would normally consider to be in the Swiss lexicon, But so Bumpy was obviously in last week's Alex the Beer Master Salad Challenge, and forgive me, beer man, but weren't you kind of like lurking in the comments trying to figure out a way to put together a salad or something?
Yeah, I was going to, and I just didn't have. It just never happened. But
So
sport was there. That's all I care about.
so yeah, it was like I felt kind of like that tonight. I was like, oh man, like, you know, I'm like, I do have a Swiss, and I'm like, I can get on, and like it was like barely, you know, skating by to get in. I'm glad, because if it was just you two guys, like I'm glad I could just like jump in, you know. But hold on, I want to like, so they do a really good. Give me 1 second, fellas. I really apologize for this.
No, you don't need to. It's fine. We got plenty of time. Glad you're here, man.
So I'm just their description of it was beautiful. So it's September Farms cheese aged Swiss. So if you type in September Farms cheese aged Swiss, it will take you to the land of Pennsylvania, and it will tell you that this cheese is only $6.99 a pound, but for a $17 shipping fee.
$6.99 a pound is not a bad price.
No, it doesn't sound bad.
So I got it. So Bumpy, I got it for $9.99 for 8 ounces at Whole Foods, meaning that I got it for $20 a pound, but I didn't have to get it shipped. I just went there and bought it. You know what I mean?
Oh.
All right. So I found
bucks.
here we go. All right.
$23.
So I found the package. I don't know. Let's see here. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the so it's September Farms aged Swiss. I don't know how they get the pieces to curl up like that. They probably have one of those crazy, you know, they have like herbs and shit on there. But that's what I got. But so here's what they say though. The description's very interesting. I think you guys are gonna like this. So here's the description. A fresh quality cheese that's full of flavor. This aged Swiss cheese provides a sweet, nutty flavor with the creamy texture that's made with a traditional Amish recipe. A local favorite in Lancaster County, this cheese's quality is sure to stand out against the national brands and win over your taste buds. Regardless of whether you're filling out a charcuterie board or topping an award-winning sandwich, this cheese's unique, fresh taste and creamy texture is sure to please.
Nice. All right. How long was that aged? Does it say? Or-
It does not say on the site, and I looked all over for it. So actually, you guys, so I did a bunch of research on cheese today, and I found that Swiss cheese is pretty close to Asiago as far as how you age it. So I would say Asiago is usually aged between 8 to 12 months, and Swiss cheese seems to follow because Asiago is kind of a nutty cheese that you can mix with other cheeses or serve by itself. It's similar in some qualities. So I would say, Beer Man, that it probably 8 to 12 months is probably what they're going for when they say that.
All right. Oh, cool. Nice, man.
Is that fair? I mean, because like a 2-year or 3-year cheese, that's like really long, right? Like,
Seems
so
like a
like
long
a
time.
lower age cheese is probably like 8 to 12 months, right? That seems to be my experience.
Within a year, yeah, or like 3 months to a year, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Within
Yeah.
that year, it's not like I actually had a 5-year Gouda and it was amazing, but it was hard
Holy
like
crap.
a Parmesan,
oh wow, you gotta shred that. Yeah, interesting.
It didn't even need to be refrigerated. It was just sitting on a little barrel at the Kroger cheese shop. Like it was just, it didn't even need to be refrigerated.
Oh, weird. That's
Also, I picked up some of the Grana Padano. Have you guys ever heard of Grana Padano cheese?
weird. No,
Awesome. It's like a Parmesan Romano type of cheese. It's like sheep milk. But again, it doesn't even have to be refrigerated. It just sits out, and it's just like this like thick rind you just grate out, and it's like interesting.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. So go ahead and pour that up and taste it.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry. Let me grab a glass. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're all right. It's all good.
Where's Telly? Maybe
I
Telly.
will professionally. Let's jam this out. Jammer fans about to jam it out. All
That's
right.
right. That's right.
All right. So as I said on Alex's cast on Friday, what I like about this beer is that it's New Belgium. It's actually not available year round in most markets. Right now, it's available in the Folly Pack. So if you get the Folly Pack, you get 3 Fat Tires, 3 Mountain Times, 3 Voodoo Rangers, and 3 Accumulation White Belgian IPAs.
I've
So
never
you can
seen
go
that.
out and you can get this beer right now, but it's not available in most markets most of the time.
Yeah.
The reason I like it so much is because I live like down the street from the brewery and I'm in this area. I can get it for $19.99 a 24 pack. You
Oh,
know,
dang,
I
that's a
can
good
grab this
price.
beer for that. And it's a premium lager. So here's the recipe: Nugget, Willamette hops, Cascade, 15 IBU, regular lager yeast, pale malt, and Pilsner for the malts. So 136 calories for a 4.4% 12-ounce beer. So some people criticize it for being too calorie heavy, but that's because they're giving you this like really nice biscuit note that hits mid palate, where you get a sweet biscuity kind of flavor to kind of go with the lager flavor.
Nice. All right. Cool.
So, here she is. Let's take a look. You know, nice golden. Do you guys know when I'm talking about that matchstick flavor, kind of that sulfury pilsnery flavor or smell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it. New Belgium used to have a beer called Blue Paddle. Does anybody remember their Blue Paddle Pilsner?
No.
No.
So it was basically this same beer, but it was 4.8%, and it had way more Pilsner malt than pale, and it was a lot more of had that like sulfury matchstick flavor. So they basically took that beer and they toned it down to basically make a session beer. So if you're in Asheville, North Carolina, you can also buy this beer cheap too. So it's cheap around the distribution centers, and then anybody outside of that, they put it in the Folly Pack.
All right.
But yeah, sorry. Let me sorry. I'm like totally. So we've got what would you guys say the SRM is on this? Like 15, 10? I don't know. Anyways,
10
this golden
or less 10. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
I'd
it
say
started
about
off
four.
with
Yeah.
started off with a half finger, but it goes to a quarter finger and it stays there. It washes up. Oh, look at this. John HPA remembers Blue Paddle. Thank you, sir. Thank you for remembering Blue Paddle, so I'm not crazy. It has a little film that's up at the top. The body's thin, but not as thin as you would expect. It's more medium than, because of like, again, one of the major criticisms lobbied against this beer is that it's too like, so to put it in perspective, for 110 calories you can get a Bud Light at 4.2% alcohol. So they're saying that the calorie expense of upgrading this to 4.4 is too high, but you're getting that sweet biscuity flavor, which I like. And it's also all malt. You know, it's just Pilsner and pale. There's no other adjuncts. There's nothing in there. So I like it. And this beer, it paired good with the salad last week with Alex. It pairs good with cheese. I like the biscuity flavor that comes through. Hope I made my case. I rest my case. Or, you know.
How was that with the cheese? Did you have it with the cheese?
Now you got to put the cheese in the salad and have that beer.
All right. So
Sorry.
I'm cutting up those cubes into small little pieces. So you guys do the beer and then cheese first, right? Or cheese and then beer first?
You can do it either way or one way.
I feel like
however you
it's
want.
always cheese before beer, because I feel like beer before cheese always ends up better. So I'm going to do cheese before the beer first. All right. So
Cool.
I'll go quick. All right. I'm chewing this up. So, yeah. Compared to a normal Swiss, I have more of that. Did you guys get that kind of like dance across the tongue mid palate where it kind of coats more than a normal cheese, and it kind of gives you a slight funk, like there's a little spike of funk across the tongue? Did you guys get that with your cheeses? I'm just curious.
My Gruyere did not coat my tongue. It wasn't like melting on my palate at all. But it did have a kind of like a butter, like that raw milk buttery funk to it.
Yeah.
Right. Rubbery.
This is so around the edges, like I can taste around the edges where the cheese was close to the outside, obviously when it's aging. So it's a little tougher there, but that inside is buttery and creamy. So nice. So I'm gonna taste the beer now. Never done this combination before. So try this really quick. And just as a side note, I can smell a lot of noble hops right now when I'm sniffing it. I just smelled the cheese. I can smell more of the hay out of this beer, so I'm getting some hay. This beer doesn't have a lot of unpleasant notes, but I will say this brings out kind of a buttery, dull grain taste when I have the cheese first. So it's not bad, but it's not necessarily exciting. Like my tongue's already coated with that flavor, and then the cheese is kind of just washing it off. So I'll get some fresh beer going in here.
All right. Be right back.
Sorry, all my dishes are in the dishwasher, so I'm using this is actually a Crown Royale highball glass. So I figure it's good enough for a lager, right?
That works.
So here's a piece that's got some of the holes and stuff in it. So I'm gonna cut into this bad boy, right? Have you guys noticed on aged cheeses sometimes the holes when you cut into them? Sorry, that sounds kind of graphic. It sometimes has a crystallization in there, or there's like kind of like I don't know. There's like this sort of like I don't know. There's something that builds up, and when you crack it open, you can I don't know. It's just like eating like little cheese candy or something when you have something aged.
Yeah.
So again, this isn't aged as much as you would normally probably expect a cheese to be aged. But all right, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, guys. I'm supposed to do cheese. I'm supposed to do beer first. All right. I'm making up for lost time. All right. So beer first. I'll make it quick. This is a premium lager. For those out there who didn't pay attention, I would say this is a mix between a Helles lager and I don't know, like an American, an American lager that's a little bit lighter. It's not an adjunct; it doesn't have any of the adjuncts in it, so it's just kind of like a lighter Helles lager. So nose again, light hay, just kind of stuff like that. I'm gonna really cleanse my palate. This is a beer you drink a lot of, right, guys? So I'm just really gonna get into this beer. This is an 8-ounce glass, so I'm just trying to really just drink that. I did an Alex pour, so here's kind of an Alex pour with the can being out for a while. It does yield like a finger head. It's coming down. When you first open it, you could definitely Alex pour it pretty big if you wanted to. But I'm getting that Helles flavor. All right. So I'm going to cut another fresh piece off this guy. They're saying rich cream, nuttiness, that tanginess. They said kind of like a I don't know, like a barnyard. They kind of made it sound like it's got like a barnyard rural feel to it. This is an aged Swiss, so unlike a cheddar, when you break it apart and it's all huge and curdy, this is it's a clean break, but it does have, it does have like a slight texture. It's hard to, so you can tell there's a little age. Wow. The one thing I get, and you guys will have to back me up and tell me why I'm tasting this, but the one thing I get when my palate's been cleansed by this beer is that kind of green onion, grassy sharpness you can get with the cheese, where you can almost kind of taste what the cow's been eating. You know, like if it's a grass-fed beef. Does anybody ever had that sharp, peppery kind of background to it? Am I crazy? Am I just imagining this?
Sharp pepper in like a Swiss cheese.
Well, just it's creamy up front, but the background, it reminds me of like a scallion, like a green onion. I'm kind of getting that. I don't know. You know,
I've only had that experience with cheeses that actually had onion in them.
That had onion. All right.
Yeah. Doesn't mean
I guess
that
you
you're not
could
picking it up, that it's not there. It's just
I guess
never picked it up.
To try to put it in maybe a more generic term, it's maybe a sharp a sharp cheese nutty flavor with a vegetal back end. Is that like a little more approachable of like a, it's got some vegetalness on the back end. But it does, I don't know. How do you guys describe Swiss? So Swiss cheese kind of tastes like Swiss cheese, right? How would you describe the signature flavor? Like a creamy funk, like a light creamy funk, like almost like a sour cream?
Just however your representation of it is really. I mean, for the most part, it's a rubbery, kind of a rubbery, dry, not much until you start chewing into it, which is when you start getting that funk. But it's kind of, it's not really cheddary. It's sweet. It's
I guess no, it's sweeter. But I guess I was talking about that sharpness because this is an aged one, so it does have a little bit of the nutty sharpness that might not be present normally.
I mean, that's Gruyere. I don't know what, they're both Swiss cheeses, so I don't really know what the difference is between Gruyere and Swiss necessarily. Regardless of the fact that there's tens of thousands, hundreds of different types of Swiss, I guess. But from what you were saying, but yeah, dude, it's good.
Well, that's all. I don't want. I'm chewing up too much time, man. Just pan away. Pan the camera away.
Thanks, Jammer. All right, man.
Cheers, Jammer.
Thanks, man. All right. All right. So let's get into this. Let's do the cheese. So this is, of course, it does taste a lot like Swiss. It's rubbery. It's chewy. It's just like kind of takes a lot of chewing to finally mush it in your mouth a bit, but it still doesn't do that. It does have a nuttiness. It does have a milky kind of cheese, cow milk kind of vibe going. There is a funk that goes through the center. As you chew kind of through it a bit and mush it in through your mouth, you start to get a little bit more of a salinity and funkiness. It is
that's a great way to put it, man.
Yeah, it's nutty, buttery. Does have a little buttery kind of feel. It's boingy all the way through. It's really hot. It's like fish cake consistency. If you've ever had fish cake on that little board, the little Japanese fish cakes that you cut into little slices and eat it. I don't know. I haven't had that in a while, but it's kind of like that, kind of like a hard Jello or something. Not really that much. Not like Jello.
I like how you said it pops on the mid palate because it does. It's like springy. It's moist and goopy, but it's got a rubberiness, and then on the mid palate you get this like burst of a bouquet.
It's gritty.
It's like a bouquet that hits quick, but then it turns creamy quick, right? It's not like a super crazy sharp cheddar or something. It mellows out fast.
Yeah, it's creamy. It gets there. It's kind of, it just takes a little while to chew it, but as you start to get it down, it starts to get gritty. Kind of turns into smaller bits of grainy kind of feel, and then it starts to finally go down your throat. So it's good if sliced into thin slices on some I don't know, like a roast beef sandwich or I don't know, some kind of chicken sandwich or I don't know, a fried chicken or I'm not sure where to go with that one, but it is good. All right, getting into the cheese. Oh, what's that?
Oh, I was just gonna say we served it with Caesar salad last night. We had wine and cheese, and then we had a chicken Caesar salad. And the Swiss went really good with the Parmesan. Like, you still had it on your palate. You're eating and then you go to the Parmesan and the chicken. I think you're in the ballpark, man. That's all I was trying to say.
Yeah, Parmesan and Italiano for sure on that in that aspect, or even an fried eggplant with some Gruyere on there would be pretty good. I think. Yeah. I love Swiss on my sandwiches actually. Swiss is great.
Oh,
with ham.
Swiss is great, man.
So. But okay, so the beer. This is a Weissenbach, Weissen Dunkelweiss. Excuse me. This is the Erdinger. It's a 5.3%. Definitely an export from Germany. So going into the nose, it's got that nice, kind of a slight, getting a little bit of an apple thing going on there. A little bit of like kind of a granny apple or something, maybe a red apple or something. But it's crispy and it has a brown bread and it has a brown bread crust. It's like you're eating the whole loaf of bread, brown bread, like wheat bread or something. I don't know. It's like wheat bread. Yeah, like a wheat bread. I'm sorry, I got burpy. Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is, like wheat bread, and it just smells kind of dry. Has a dryness in the smell. Doesn't really smell sweet. Has like a slight fruit, like I said, like apple or something. All right, looking at it real quick here, it's dark. It's a dark beer. It's an opaque beer. It's a reddish, dark, kind of a actually like a Tootsie Roll brown with a little reddish tint at the bottom. It starts to go up dark at the top, a little more chocolatey, and it's got a tan head for sure. It's a real creamy, frothy head, and good lacing and stuff that just starts to, well, not great. Maybe it will as we go, but anyway, let's drink this. Let's drink this. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Cheesers. Julius Cheeser.
Yeah. This is good. This is kind of like a lighter, way lighter version, like a very sessionable version of Optimizer or what's that one?
Optimator?
The Optimator or something. Yeah, but the little goat. It comes with a little goat, plastic
Yeah,
goat.
like that's yeah.
It
Is
kinda
that by
tastes
Spaten?
like that.
Is that Spaten? that does
Spaten.
that?
Yeah, it kind of tastes like Spaten.
Spaten. It's at their
or Spaten.
Doppelbock, right?
Yeah. It has that kind of feature in it, in the flavor. Like, it's very nice. It's got that German approach. It's got that real nice grainy wheat kind of thing going on. It's got the a nice brown bread, like you said, in the aromas. It's a light body sitting in at kind of a medium in a way, sort of, just because of the dark roast, kind of, but that crispy lightness. This is served too warm. This should have been about 10 degrees cooler. So probably about, it would have been nice drinking this at 45. It's now 55 probably. But I am getting those flavors coming out. It is dry in the finish. It is a drinkable beer. It's very good. You'd never think this was a wheat beer necessarily. It tastes more like, I don't know, just tastes, doesn't really, I would never have thought it was like a wheat beer or anything. You're getting a lot of the roasted malts and stuff overtake it.
Do you get
A lot
any
of the
bubble
brown
gum or clove or
Nah,
like
nothing
tires?
that. Nothing
No,
like
like
that.
tires. No, like rubbery tires.
Mm-mm.
Because I know you're a Belgian
plain.
guy. Like, if there's anybody I know that can
Well, this is
take
German.
their
This is straight up
their
German.
schnoz and sniff out some Belgian flavors, it's the beer man, dude. You're like all over that. I love it.
It's close to Belgium, but yeah, German. No, this is totally German, but it's definitely close to Belgium.
I mean,
it's-
as far as the philonics, you get some of the right that you got to get at least something out of there. Is there some kind of yeasty notes? Got yeasty beasties
it's a little
in there
bit
anywhere?
yeasty. There's a little bit yeasty. It's dry in the finish, though. It's really dry. The fruit kind of carries back in the back with a nice appley kind of fruitiness or something. It has that
Yeah.
crispy. It's just too warm. But if it was cooler, it would have been more crispy. It would have been more delightful. It's a little too warm right now. So let's have it with the cheese.
Cheese are
I love it.
Damn shit. It's so fucking rubbery. It's so chewy, dude. It's dry, just like the beer. This beer is very dry.
Oh yeah, it looks crummy in your mouth. It looks like it's a dry. You're just experiencing a drought, like a drought of moisture.
Oh, I get sulfur egg now. What's going on there?
Mm.
And the cheese. That's the funk, I bet.
I was getting sulfur because I had the Pilsner yeast and malt, but I don't know why you're getting sulfur, man. Unless you're getting that egginess, that.
Bananas coming out right now. Yeast.
Oh, okay.
Yeastiness is coming through. I'm getting a banana.
What about
bison
Band-Aid
thing.
and rubber
No.
tire?
Nah,
None of
it's
that?
not Belgian like that. It's not like yeah, it's not.
It's
Doesn't
not
have the
hitting you with
spice.
that, all right.
Mm.
A little
Banana,
softer,
though.
okay.
A light frosted banana in the flavor from this cheese. The
That sounds
butteriness.
good, man. That sounds actually really good. Like it's like a banana cheesecake flavor or something.
Yeah, not cheesecake, but it's like banana. But it's like the banana in
Well,
the
with the
yeast.
cheese, I mean, I'm talking with the cheese on your tongue, and then you have the banana and the creaminess.
Yeah, but
I was just-
I was getting into that. The cheese kind of gives me a nice buttery feel, diacetyl kind of, not popcorn though, not popcorn butter. There's not it's not an off flavor. or anything. It doesn't feel flavory. It's bringing in this buttery, cow milky kind of expression with like this, and then it brings out the roasted quality of the beer. It also brings the banana through. It's quite nice. Let's drink the beer before the cheese. I don't know who. I think it'll be better before cheese before beer, but I'm just gonna take her to cheese too. Hold on, just reading before my flavor of the beer goes away. No, it's not one. No, milk comes through more. Cow milk. After cow milk comes out. All right. Cool, man. I'm done. This is good. This cheese is kind of sucky to like review because it's so chewy and hard to chew. But it's not bad. It'd be good on a sandwich or something. I'll say that in the last expressions or last thoughts, whatever the hell we go through in our lives. Let's
Oh.
Oh
So
my
this
God.
cheese, this Lagrère, or whatever it is. Yeah, definitely one to. I had to eat it differently than I eat cheese a lot of the times, where I'm just shoveling squares into my mouth, slicing it thinner, taking smaller nibbles. Really brought out some great flavors in the cheese that if I just put big chunks in my mouth, I never probably would have got. I probably would have just been stuck on this kind of waxy kind of consistency, and there's a bit of a waxy type flavor to it too. But if you get smaller pieces, that waxiness doesn't really show up, and you get more of that funky, that raw cow milk, buttery funk, the salt, and the nuts. The nuts in there, no matter what. I mean, that nut aroma and flavor was just pretty potent in this one. Not a bad cheese. I mean, it's not probably one of my favorite types of cheese, but I'm gonna give it a pretty damn fair score. I'm gonna give it a 93 out of 100. Eating it the right way, small slivers helps.
Nice.
The beer that Monadbach I had there from Granite State Brewing Company. Not one of my favorite bocks. It was interesting. It wasn't crap, but I've had obviously some bocks from Germany and bocks from other brewing companies around in the United States that I think just I kind of liked the other box I've had a bit more than this one. This one wasn't terrible. Still going to score up in the 90s. I'm going to give it a 91 out of 100.
Nice. Passes.
And yeah, for the pairing, I think it went really well. I think it really did match up quite nicely, especially eating the cheese first and then taking a swig of the Bock. It just blended the best notes, just kind of all blended together in harmony.
Excelente.
Yeah, so it worked well together. Are we?
Yeah, shout it. Go for it, dude.
I don't have many shout outs. Just look forward to my typical 50-point inspection videos. There'll be one coming out tomorrow. Have it come out on Wednesday and Friday, and then After Dark beers next week will be on Monday. So that'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel, Bumpy Road Brewery, for After Dark beers. Until I can figure out something like some other type of format to do a beer show.
Nice. Awesome.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on here,
dude.
man.
All right. Thank you, man. Yeah, I look forward
Right now, I'm
to
drinking a pretty sweet Saison.
Awesome.
It's sweet burn.
I like Saison.
Oh, nice, man. I love Saison. It's great style, especially with cheese.
Thanks, Bumpy.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Welcome, Jammer.
Thanks,
All right.
man. Well, I'll just wrap up really quick because I don't want to drag this on. Luckily, I have this like super sharp knife that I sharpened the other day to like take those cubes that I showed you guys and just like really slice into those little bastards and really get some like nice paper thin, where you see some opacity through it, like nice paper thin. So I'm just gonna go paper thin, just on these little guys and just this just kind of confirms kind of what I was saying earlier. It's funny how you guys are saying like popcorn and buttery because this starts off with farmhouse funk up front, but then it like dissolves into a grassy farm, like a grass fed kind of like a poppy field buttery kind of sparkiness, to it at the end. That's how I mean, like it's a little pop at the end. It's like a little, like you got like a little pop of pepper, like a little pop of scallions, like just right at the end of the tongue, like right as you're pulling away, right as you're going to swallow.
I
as you're
agree.
getting that.
I do agree with that.
And I like that.
Yep.
I think that's a quality. You guys are guys that like make beers and meats and all this stuff, and you guys know that like every aspect of the palate, of the taste, of the experience is important. And one thing going wrong, something too salty, something too heavy, something too thin, it can throw everything off.
Yep.
So, trying to find that balance, I like it. I
Texture
think
and everything.
I think this is fun. Oh, wait. Oh, so I finally get my biggest hole of the night. Hold on. Hole cam. Look at that.
There it is. All right.
Look at that Swiss hole. Look at that. The money shot, baby. We all want to see some hole at the end of the video. All right.
That's right.
That's all I got for you guys.
Anytime. Just not the brown.
Yeah. Swiss hole. Also, sorry, Bumpy, I didn't make it last night. I was doing some stuff, and I meant to. I had a Heineken Zero that I had to drink on my own in shame later.
Oh, you missed.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
sorry you couldn't make it. It would actually end up being a full panel. So
Yeah, it was.
No, it looked. I actually watched it today when I was doing some shit. It looked pretty full, man. It looked like a full house.
yeah,
Nice. So what did you score that, Matt? What did you give your
shit,
score?
sorry.
Oh,
you're like I'm like an amateur here. I'm an amateur. So I would say the cheese is a solid 92 out of 100. The beer is just an 85 out of 85. It's kind of beer you drink in the middle of grade school. It just it makes the grade. It's just like it's a beer that you just drink that tastes like beer. So it's 85.
yeah, good, man. Yeah, that.
So
passes.
together, what's 87 and 89 rounded score? Let's go with the B plus.
B plus. All right, that works. Right on, Jammer. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. Oh, do you have anything to share out?
No, because Bumpy's done the last Multi Monday, so I just want to see what's next. I will say that I had told this to somebody and they liked the idea of like a crazy, maybe once a month doing a crazy ingredient night. So, your beer has like, Moroccan spices or, like barrel aged vanilla or, you're doing like a cruising rum 15-year barrel age something. It's like basically like your beer has an X factor, like an X factor night. You're bringing on a beer that has a ingredient that most beers don't have.
Right. Yeah. But
that could be anything. I mean, you bring Josh on, he's got like, barrel aged dragon fruit smoothies he's bringing on there. So
they had tomatoes in my non-alcoholic last night and nickels.
Oh, so, tomatoes, yeah, like tomato
pennies.
Tomato Hefeweizens. Nobody wants a tomato Hefeweizen beer, man. Like, never give me a tomato Hefeweizen. Just keep it away.
All right. So the cheese. I'll give this cheese, what it is what it is, right? You either like it or you don't. but for what it is, it's definitely a 92. I'll say 93. I think I'd like to try some aged stuff. That would be really nice to try a nice Gruyere aged or something like that. This was just straight up in the package and sold. Um, it was rubbery, weird, and it did have a nice flavor in the back. It had that nice little like flavor crystal package in the back right before you take it down. It's like, oh yeah, it's kind of funky and weird. I like that. At first, it starts out all rubbery and weird, and you got to chew it forever and fuck. But it, not a bad cheese. Just like Swiss though, and it is a Swiss, so it's just a different. I don't know. I'm gonna look into that, but I think the butteriness or something was different, or maybe the fat. I don't know. Did you get? I don't know. But anyway, the beer itself was nice. It presented itself, I think, the way it should have been. Erdinger's always been like one of those ones that you hear about, and I think they're pretty renowned in their beers. I think this beer deserves a good score. I'll give it I'll go with a 93 because I the only reason why is because I want to try some more brands and other people's stuff. So we'll stick it at 93. We'll go. What did I say? 93 on the cheese as well. Did I say that? 93. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And then together it brought out the banana, which was really nice. So I'm gonna up it about to let's go to 95 on the pairing. I thought it was cool because it brought out a little more yeastiness and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I think that's what you should get out of a ice beer or something, and just get the bananas or get the yeasty esters and stuff coming through that. So that cheese really worked well with it. The nuttiness of it, just the slight salinity with this nice brown bready kind of really dry and kind of really it had its own flavors, but it just worked well. So right on, man. 95. So so for me, beer and cheese will be open for the next one. So bring what you'd like. Be creative. Find something that you think no one's found.
Nice.
Maybe stay away from the regular grocery store cheeses and go into that $8 cheese if you can, if you will, if you may. I know it's a lot to swallow, but save those receipts. Wednesday will be tomorrow will be our first stout one, 104. So all of November will be stouts. Bring again, be creative. Think of things nobody's seen before. Think of things that you have never tasted or whatever. Bring stuff that you've never had before too, so you can be surprised when you try it. 6 o'clock Eastern for that. So I keep it early because there's so much going on. It kind of starts the day. So
it's nice. I like it. I like it, man. I like your stuff.
Nice, man. Brewery's coming along. It really is. We're really getting there. So drywall. Once the drywall goes in, that's really gonna say it all. So we're getting close though. So look out for brewing videos in the near 2 to 3 months. So
that'd be sweet, man. I've done a lot of drywall and a lot of brewing myself. Like I know, like I don't talk about like a lot of my home brewing, but I've done a little home brewing on my own. You guys, like, I'm not quite, the simpleton you guys may think I am. So, I'm just kidding.
Nice, man. Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys on as always. I appreciate it. Bumpy Road Brewery and Jammer Fan. Thank you guys so much. It's been a great hour here. For us beer nerds to explore. And
I love cheese, man.
If I called you a nerd,
getting into the cheese, man. I didn't realize that Swiss and the Gruyere, like, they overlap. Like, it's kind of like champagne and sparkling wine. It's like you could say that an aged Swiss is a Gruyere, right? Like it's a foggy territory.
Much. Yeah,
it's a foggy territory, but I love it. I love
an alpine, but whatever that means.
Yeah, like an alpine cheese. Yeah, yeah. I love digging into it though.
I like that. Yeah, I like the nerd hour thing. I like how I like to discuss stuff and really gets your brain going. It is a hobby of mine personally on my level. At my house, that's all I think about is beer. Drinking it, making it, doing it. It's it. So it's my life. It's what I'll do till I die in my casket. It's just it. So I found it. And I found you guys. You guys are great friends. So thank you so much. Thank you, chat, for being here. You guys have been exceptionally awesome as always. So I really appreciate it. Anyone from Restream that's watched this as well, thank you. From Facebook, Twitter, maybe, I don't know. I haven't been there forever. So yeah, let's end this. Let's end this.
20 the Twittyverse.
The Twitterverse. Yes. All right. All right.